Hey guys, welcome back to the Totally Random Talk Show. If you're not staying up to date, what we're doing right now is going through all 26 letters of the alphabet and just going in a row, um, going through each letter and brushing up on the topics that we have to mind. And let's go ahead and jump in. We're on letter T right now. So, what do we got?
All right, our first topic is on trains. I gotta just say this before we get started. I like trains.
I like trains.
Meow. If you haven't seen that, just look up I like trains. It's probably the first thing that comes up. Yeah, it's pretty
It's
funny.
great. It's classic.
So yeah,
Um, I guess a good first thing to start out on is trains were a very pivotal um, point for innovation in not just America, but in every country across the world. Because before that, the way that people got places was either with like a wagon or a horse or a donkey, or they walked. And that was about the extent of what they could do. Um, so once trains came around, everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, we don't have to do that anymore. We can make the machines work for us." And they were like, "Let's do this." So they created steam engines and coal-powered engines and things like that, and they laid out rails, and it just kind of blew up from there. Um,
yeah. So it's part of the Industrial Revolution, which mostly is talked about from the perspective of America, because there were a lot of inventors and scientists and people from America that made some machines and stuff. But the Industrial Revolution was actually kind of like a worldwide spread, I guess, event. And yeah, trains, like without trains, it would have been way different. It kind of started with the steam engine, and that really like kind of skyrocketed things. Because if you look in the early, I'd say like 1700s, 1800s, before trains, technology hadn't really changed for hundreds of years. It had kind of stayed at a cap, and there'd been new things, but it wasn't like too new. Like they'd get improvements and stuff, but it wasn't too crazy. And then like the early 1900s popped around, and they had trains for a decent amount of time, and they finally were getting all these other inventions. And so it was like in the last 100 years, we have completely changed how we use technology. It's crazy.
it really is. The reason why trains kind of like boosted that innovative time period is because with the creation of trains, we were finally able to get from one place to another way faster than if you took like say a horse, right? Because a horse, it needs time to cool down, and it's a living creature, so it needs food and water, and you have to take care of it. But with a train, you don't necessarily need to do that. You just need to feed the behemoth with coal, and then you're fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
so it was a lot easier for that reason. And so they would constantly create railroad after railroad, covering the entire expanse of the United States. And soon enough, it would stretch over to the UK and the European countries over that way, down to South America, up to Canada, like everywhere. And trains were just a really, really popular way to get around at that point. And the reason why we have so much innovation now is because trains were there for us to kind of get the equipment that we needed. And with the invention of the steam engine, we were like, oh, we can do things now.
Yeah.
Let's do things, guys.
hmm One
So
thing I think is interesting too is that nowadays, so like even just, well, let's see, yeah, about just in the like 1940s, th- there were they were kind of like just past the 1940s after World War II, maybe closer to the 1950s, started getting like subway stations and things like that, which is another like train station, just underground. And so like now they have subways in lots of cities, New York, Washington D.C. Um, I think Chicago has one. I don't know too many cities that
I
do,
think
but
so.
yeah, like lots of cities now they have these underground trains that go all across the city, and it completely changes the way that city works. Because like if you go to New York, it's such a large place. If you want to walk anywhere, first of all, it's probably not the safest thing to do. And second of all, it takes a long time. So everyone uses the subway. The subway is like like a whole new part of the city, I guess. And like now it's interesting because like the subway has kind of shifted to being the main way we use trains, I guess, or other way like for travel. And there's new things like bullet trains that are super fast. But then even like an old steam engine train, those are usually just kind of like a novelty. Like, oh, I could ride on this train as fun part of as a fun part of like a trip or something. It's definitely changed from being a necessity to something that's just for fun, I guess. Yeah.
I would have to agree. And now that we have like innovation, right? They're coming out with the Hyperloop, which is basically just a magnetic hovering train that goes supposedly 750 miles an hour. And that's just insane. The fact that innovation has brought us this far and will go even farther from this
Yeah.
point. So trains have changed the way we look at everything. And also, it's just like a childhood thing for me because Thomas the Tank Engine, guys.
Just I don't know why, but okay, there's like this meme where he like crawls out of the train. It's terrifying. Um, just it's been ruined for me.
That sounds utterly terrifying.
He has legs.
Oh,
4 of them.
oh,
Okay,
oh
anyways,
my goodness.
now that I made you imagine Thomas the Tank Engine being a demon, let's talk about something nicer, unless you have something else for, yes, that's the image. Yeah,
I
Trayson just
found it.
looked it up. It's terrifying, isn't it? If you have anything else on trains, then because I don't really, but we can move on soon.
I have seen evil. Um, yeah, I think that's it on trains. We
All right.
probably good.
So moving on now. Our next topic is probably way tastier than a train would be. We're going to talk about tacos. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it. Fun fact, Taco Cat spelled backwards is Taco Cat. For
With
those
a
of you,
weird space. So it's talk o cat. Talk wait, no, talk o cat.
well, not if you put it all together, like as one
Yeah, that's
word.
true. But yeah. Talk o cat.
Yeah, Talk Cat. um, Tacos, for those of you who do not know, uh, are basically just a type of Mexican food or Hispanic food, and they taste good. And that's
Yes.
essentially what a taco is.
Let me just okay,
If
yeah.
you'd like me to go into a little more detail, I can. But I feel like everyone knows what a taco is.
So yeah. They so tacos kind of well now they're all over the place though. But they originated in Mexico hundreds of years ago because a really simple and easy food to make is a tortilla. And it's basically it's almost like bread, like
Like a
yeah,
unleavened, like flat bread.
flatbread, yeah. With you can either use corn or flour or well other stuff if
The
you
uh,
yeah.
the original tacos, like from Mexico hundreds of years ago, they didn't necessarily have flour tortillas. They used corn for their tortillas,
Hmm.
which for
And
those of you who use flour, uncultured. No, just kidding.
yeah, corn
Flour is
tortillas
good.
are good. If you ever want to make really good tortilla chips, real easily. All you have to do is go to the store and find a pack of pre-made corn tortillas. Get some olive oil and some salt. Lightly brush them, the tortillas with olive oil and sprinkle with salt, and then cut them into triangles, and then bake them. I think on 350 for. It doesn't take very long, just until they're nice and crisp, and you'll have really good tortilla chips. So just remember that when you ever need tortilla chips and you don't have time to go to the store, maybe, and you already have those ingredients. So yeah,
The fact that you have this memorized is quite amazing.
yeah, I've only made it once and I have it memorized basically.
I mean, it doesn't seem too hard, so
Yeah,
now I'm gonna have to make that. Wow.
if you go an extra step, you can make the corn tortillas and then make the tortilla chips, and then it'll be insane.
Mm, that's a good idea. Um, I'd also like to say, for those of you who've never had a street taco before, please go and get one to make me happy.
Yes.
Street tacos are like the ultimate taco of all time. They're not very big and they're not very expensive either, but they always taste good and it doesn't really matter what meat you get. I personally always get al pastor, which is essentially like a spicy pork, but it's not really that spicy. Um, but you can also
Mhm.
get like um
Carne asada or um
yeah, you
yeah.
can get just chorizo or whatever. Um, there's also a couple places like authentic Mexican restaurants that sometimes have like more exotic um like flavors. So like I had a cactus one, like they had chopped up cactus, and that was in place of the meat, and it was really good actually. Or they also have lengua tacos, which is beef tongue. It's like the tongue of a cow, and they cook it, and it's good to some people, and it's awful to other people. That is one thing I have not tried yet that I want to try.
So yeah. One interesting thing. So in Mexico they had soft shell tacos, or just a taco with a tortilla that's not baked or anything, right? Kind of almost to the point of being a burrito, but not quite, because a burrito is different.
hmm
But yeah, and so then in the US we have hard shell tacos. I'd say, like, it's still somewhat of a Mexican dish, but it was definitely developed here in the US. And so it's basically like having a giant tortilla chip for your taco shell. But yeah, both are good. You should try both. And street tacos are amazing, especially if you put a dash of lime juice on
hmm
them. I do recommend carne asada because, man, dude, Mexicans are really good at making food. Like,
This is true. This
seriously
is so
amazing.
true.
So yeah.
Yeah. So go eat a taco.
And then we'll talk about it. Hey, I gotta use that same joke twice.
Oh, that's good.
So I have a question for you. What is your favorite thing to put on a taco?
Uh, Probably gonna have to say lime. I love lime. It makes it so much better.
Mm,
Squirt
yes.
a bit of, or yeah, a bit of lime on there, and then makes it all the better. What would you say?
I'd say, um, oh, see, it's hard because I'm the one who asked the question, but I don't even really know. I'd say chorizo is pretty good. Like, even if you have another meat, if you just add a little bit of chorizo, it has a really nice flavor and spice. It's not too spicy, but it's just enough that adds such depth to the taco. I know this sounds weird, but it
hmm
really makes it like 10 times better. So yeah.
It is definitely 100% true. So I agree.
Mm.
And now I want a taco.
Same. I might have to make some.
Same here. And some tortilla chips.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Just don't make
So
the mistake of using a flour tortilla.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So to kind of transition over from tacos, just like how tacos um, give our body energy, you could say that a battery gives a Tesla energy, which is our next topic.
Hmm. So, interesting thing about Teslas. So here in, well, everywhere, but here in America, especially, I think we have more access to Teslas since Tesla is a US based company, basically. Well, yeah, mostly. They're worldwide, but they I think they have a plant here in the US that's like one of the bigger ones.
I think it's in Texas.
Yeah. And so now since gas prices have been going up like beyond insanity, um a lot of people have bought a Tesla, which I feel like doesn't make too much sense. Like you'd rather spend all this money on this expensive car, which is pretty nice. They're pretty nice cars, but you'd rather spend all that money on the expensive car than spending less on the gas. So then like I guess it'd have to be really worth it. Like you'd have to buy the car
Yeah.
and really like be using that car for a long time. It's just like honestly, if I could get a Tesla, I would get one because one time we got to try one out, like riding one, and they're really nice and smooth, and yeah, it's like a sports car basically. So yeah.
Mm, that sounds awesome. I mean, I would love a Tesla, and with the rising gas prices, it becomes all the more tempting. But like, there's a point where you have to stop yourself and think, is it really worth like 60 or $70,000?
Hmm.
Because personally, I don't use that much gas because I only have to go to my work and back. I don't have to
Same.
go everywhere. So I never really have to fill up on gas all the time.
Hmm. Plus,
So I don't think it's as
yeah,
worth it as I would hope.
yeah, like plus if you were going to be driving it everywhere, one problem is um because you're not paying for gas, you're not so here in the US we have taxes on our gas. You have a little federal tax and like other taxes and stuff. It's a few cents and it just adds up so that the government can pay for things like roads and infrastructure. It's usually put towards roads. So basically it's like you pay for gas and it's put back into the roads. And so then when somebody has an electric car, they're not really spending the same money on the gas for that tax. So then they're basically using the roads for free. So I think like Teslas are nice and all the electric cars are pretty nice and it's a good idea, but we need to figure out a better way so that like the roads don't just get all broken up and everything so that everyone can still use them.
Hmm.
And yeah. And
Yeah.
once we find a sustainable way to do that, then it's a good idea.
Hmm. I also think that if people don't want to get an electric car and they don't want to use up gas, they have one of two options. They can either get a hybrid car, which kind of uses half and half, or they can ride a bike or walk.
Yes.
Or here's a more tough third option. Invent a new like fuel.
Just power your car with old old what
Old
shoes.
shoes, old dishwasher detergent, old
Garbage,
bread,
just garbage.
garbage. Just power it off of
Hold up.
garbage. Get a
Well,
little incinerator inside your
okay, so first of all, if you use an incinerator, um, you're gonna be leaving behind toxic fumes everywhere you go. Like cars already do that, but you just be like blasting out toxic
Get a
garbage waste.
recycler.
There's like just a bunch of like you just see like this big puff of smoke come out of the car and like some bird flies out or falls out of the sky. Just um
Falls out of the sky into the incinerator.
wait, no, like I guess sure, but what I meant was like
R-
the bird passes out from the toxic fumes.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
no, it goes into the incinerator. The shining light. Wow. Oh no,
Oh goodness.
that'd just be sad.
Yeah, I would probably cry for the bird.
I'd cry for the incinerator. No, I'm just kidding.
Poor incinerator having to suffer with a bird.
That's just gross, though.
Yeah, so let's all just like pool our knowledge and figure out a way to just like use lemons or something to power cars.
I mean, Mark Rober did make a giant lemon battery.
Yeah. Let's all just talk to Mark Rober about this.
He's pretty smart. He worked for NASA. He could figure this out.
He knows what he's doing.
Hey, wait, we should just talk to NASA, bro. I
Yeah,
mean,
let's just ask NASA.
they
They know
have
what they're doing.
rovers, like they put solar panels on them and stuff. Why not
Yeah.
just straight up make a car that's a rover, basically?
Solar powered car. It's not that hard, guys.
Actually, see, that would be a pretty good idea because then you would never need to really like charge it.
That's true.
Although
And
I'm
I
not
mean,
sure how that would work.
what you could do is you could like have the car not constantly running, but like at periodic times, you could have like a software system inside of it that like uh temporarily like stalls it, right? Kind of like those bikes, where you power it up and then the it keeps the momentum and you just keep going.
Hmm.
I don't fully know the science behind that, but like it could probably work.
Yeah. One other solution, if we could figure out how how to make perpetual motion possible, then we just have infinite energy. So basically, if you don't know, perpetual motion is when, like, as an example, if you had a wheel rolling, then the wheel rolling um, produces energy, right? And so then if you take that energy to power the wheel, theoretically, you could have infinite power by just rolling the wheel because it's powering itself. It doesn't actually work because of things like air resistance and friction. But if we could figure out how to do that, we really would have infinite energy.
See, that's where I think we should just put like metal over the roads and then have magnets on the bottom of cars
Yeah,
and just like
flying cars are real now. That would cost a lot though, the amount of metal.
yeah.
I guess you can melt down all the other cars.
It's true. All the cars we're not gonna use, we're gonna we're gonna
It'd
melt.
be so expensive. Cost
Have a
like
car that runs off of other cars.
oh, okay, this is kind of a weird random segue, but what if you could buy the earth? How much would it cost? Couldn't someone just like full on straight up buy the earth?
Well, it depends who owns the earth.
Well, like what if they bought like every single country?
Would you have to ask like the United Nations if you can buy the earth?
Yeah, no, like what if you bought what if you like you're like, hey, United States, I'll buy your territory for like, I don't know, like $250,000,000.
I mean, if you have enough money
And
for it, then I would assume you
and then they
can,
buy
but
all of the countries and then they own the earth.
what if all the countries just pooled their money and
Became one
bought the earth?
mega super wait. I don't think they would need to buy the earth though. Couldn't they
Because
just
they
become
already
one
have
mega
part of it.
superpower? Just be a giant country. Although that wouldn't work very well
What if we just went to Antarctica and claimed it?
from the scientists. We're
Well,
gonna
the
have to fight them
scientists
off.
don't own it. They're
Yeah, but
just
we'd have to
there.
fight them off. They're living there.
There's like 10 people. We can do it.
they're they're literally scientists who live in the craziest climate, like the coldest desert. You think they're going to want to leave? Yes.
No, no, they love it.
Okay, yeah, they like researching, but they probably are like missing their families and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd leave.
What if it was like tropical and sunny?
I'd stay. No, I'd pay for my family to come with me.
There you go. There
and
you
then
go.
you don't have any problems.
It's just all happy.
Okay. We should. Is there anything else about Teslas that we want to talk about?
Um, Tesla was founded by then I just had a brain fart. You say
Elon
it.
Musk,
Thank you.
the man,
For
the
some
myth.
reason I kept thinking Mark Rober and I was like, no,
Mark.
it's not Mark Rober. Stop thinking this. It was created by Elon Musk in California, but then he decided to move headquarters to a new place called Texas,
Yeehaw! Sorry if that was loud.
the land of the cowboys and Texas Roadhouse
And big stuff.
and Texas
And
people.
Waco, next door neighbor. That's from a song. You know that? Okay, if you've ever seen Spider-Man 3, when um Peter Parker is dancing and he
Oh
gets a suit,
yes.
the song in that is called People Get Up and Drive Your Funky Soul. And it's 9 minutes long. And I've listened to that song multiple times all the way through. And it says it like lists off all these like different cities and stuff right throughout. And Waco is one of them. Waco is a city in Texas. Um it's like a college city. I'm trying to remember what college.
I don't know which
Let
one,
me let me
but
see.
I know
Oh
what you're
yeah, it's
talking about.
Baylor. Okay. So yeah, in Waco they have Baylor, which is actually a pretty big school here in the US. Um and also if you've ever seen anything from HGTV, the home TV channel, um Chip and Joanna Gaines from Fixer Upper have like they have a show where they like fix up houses. They're from Waco and they have like this whole like basically like tourist area in Waco that they've like it's this barn house and like this garden and their store and everything and it's amazing
That sounds so
and
cool.
it it's like it's actually amazing. Like, so
Oh
yeah,
my gosh. I'm gonna search that up now and look at it. Wow. Okay, well, yeah. Texas is awesome, guys. Go there.
visit, but don't be too worried. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
There's some
close.
people that are crazy, but that's anywhere you go.
If you don't want to see Waco and the Alamo and
Alamo.
the Gulf, then you don't have to go.
And also go to Austin, Texas. That is also amazing. And
It's true.
well, there's lots of good cities and lots of good
There's a
things
lot
to
of good
see.
things in Texas.
It's pretty good for going on a trip there. We went there a while back. Um, so yeah, it's fun. Like it's pretty warm, especially right now. It's been over 100 degrees there like every day.
Sounds awesome.
That's Fahrenheit, not Celsius. If it was over 100 degrees Celsius,
Yeah,
I'd be really worried. That's like, what is that? Like 40? No, wait, no, not 40 degrees
it's
Celsius.
like 140 to 150 degrees.
So let's
Uh,
see. So wait, 100 Fahrenheit. Okay, yeah, it's about 40. Yeah, so if it's 40 degrees Celsius, that's like over 100. I think that's like 110 degrees Fahrenheit,
yeah,
which is hot. Like if it was 100 degrees Celsius, let me just, that's 212 Fahrenheit. Um,
Ooh.
you could bake stuff in an oven at that temperature.
Yeah. Um,
Yikes.
aren't we glad we don't live on an Earth where that happens?
The sun just hates us. Burn!
I want to burn everything today.
Burn! There's too much water.
Let's get rid of it all.
Yeah, now all I can think of is the sun just yelling, "Burn! You'll burn!"
See, my question is like the oceans would lose a lot, if not all their water, right? If it was that hot. But it would just be like floating around in the air, would it not?
Well, what do you mean? Like,
Like,
like as a cloud?
yeah, like as clouds and precipitation and stuff.
Yeah. So it'd be too hot for it to rain.
Right.
It-
But once it cooled down again, it would rain really bad.
okay. Yeah. Well, if it did cool down. So
If
so yeah. Okay. Let's say it does cool down. Okay. So it's 200 degrees outside. Okay. Everyone has bunkered into their houses. Whoever's
Mhm.
not in their house has been boiled alive, which is terrifying.
Yeah, scary.
But everyone inside is fine with air conditioning, but it's still like kind of crazy. Let's say
Good
this for
plot for
one
like a
day.
movie or a book, actually.
Yes. Don't steal our idea, please, please,
Copyright Totally Random Talk Show 2022.
please. I want to make this into a movie. Who's a John Favreau? I got you. You can direct it. No. Okay. Anyways, so like, let's say this happens for one day, right? It's hot. The next day, it goes back to a normal temperature, right? So all the water in the oceans have dried up. Well, not all of them, because there's a certain point where it gets far enough away from the sun that it's a little bit cooler. So let's say there is some water that is warmer, but all of the fish in the ocean, everything just survives. Okay. No animals die or people, even though they could be boiled alive. Um, and then it rains a bunch. Okay. Now you've got Noah and the Great Flood again, basically. See, everything would flood because most of the rain would probably be in clouds that are not always in the ocean. The ocean would come back, right? But then I think since all the water would be evaporated, like all the lakes would be completely changed.
Yeah, it would be very different.
And
I don't
everyone
think
would
we
like,
would have lakes. We would
yeah,
just
no.
have one big ocean.
Yeah, we'd have some pools of water because of where the lakes would be. They'd be
Yeah.
like divots in the ground, right? But I don't think it would have as much water unless the cloud, based on how the clouds would be dispersed. Because what would happen, well, what I think would happen would be that all of the clouds would just congregate in little, like, I guess sections, right? Because like
Hmm.
you could be in one city and it's raining, and then go like 30 minutes maybe or less to another city that's close by, and it could be completely sunny, right? So you'd have parts that are like super rained out and everything, but others that aren't.
Also, I think that the salt deposits in the ocean would become a lot bigger.
Yeah, holy cow, dude.
Oh my gosh, that would be so bad.
The salt would we'd have to like mix the ocean to dissolve all the salt again. It would like dry it out into salt blocks. But
Yeah. Uh, now I actually want to know what would happen. Oh my gosh.
um Mark Rober, do you know? No. I
Who
mean,
is that? Elon
he's
Musk? Maybe?
Elon
Question
Musk.
mark?
Yeah, no, who would know?
No, I don't know.
I don't even know. George Lucas.
John Favreau?
I can only think of Star Wars directors and anyways. So okay, another random thought. Uh, Speaking of John Favreau, there's this documentary. I think it's narrated by David Attenborough. Um, I think he did Planet Earth. I know he
Oh,
did some
yeah.
other ones. Anyways, it's about dinosaurs, and it's like super realistic looking CGI, like based on what we think dinosaurs look like, right? So they look like realistic lizard type skin, right? It's
Mhm.
nuts. And there's this one part where I've only seen this one clip of it where there's this one um dinosaur that has really short arms, and they weren't sure what those arms were for, but they had really fluid movement, like their shoulders could like move all the way around.
Wow.
Okay, and they were thinking, well, maybe this is like some sort of mating thing. So then they animated it. He has little blue arms, and he's just wiggling his arms, and the other dinosaur just is like, nah, and walks away. And his look of disappointment, the the dinosaur just, oh man, didn't wiggle my arms enough. And but it like looked weird. He's like wiggling his arms. It looked so funny because they're so tiny. So yeah, that
Sounds
was
like a T-Rex.
directed by Jon Favreau. I'm not even kidding. I don't even know why from Star Wars to this.
From Texas to this.
Yeah, that's true. Where's Jon Favreau from? Watch him be from Texas. No.
That would be a little crazy.
Born New York. Okay.
Ah,
But close enough. Close enough.
true. I don't think there was much to say about Texas in the first place.
Yeah.
There's
I,
cactuses over there.
there's cowboys
And
and
dust.
aliens.
These are all true statements.
Um, yeah, this just went all over the place as soon as we started talking about that. So I'm not sure how long we've been talking. Probably don't want to keep everyone listening for too long. You still want to do other stuff. Um, so why don't we move on?
Let's do it. So we have a last topic that I'll let Max introduce you guys to. It's a little special.
All right. You probably don't know this word or words. Okay, you ready for this? Totally random talk show.
I've never heard of that
There's no
before.
way.
What?
That's what you're listening to right now, if you're listening. And thank you for listening. So we wanted so since it's T letters, we just thought, why don't we just choose? Well, we've done this before. So a while back we did different like segments. We had guess the word and like quick 1 minute discussions, right? I guess minute to win it, right? So I think that's what we should do today. We should choose random topics from any letter or anything off the top of our heads and talk about them for a minute or less and just say all of our thoughts on them really quick and then go on to the next one
I
to
think that's a good idea. Yeah, let's
because
do it.
of totally random talk show as the topic. Okay. Would you like to pick our first one?
Absolutely. So I think it would be a really good idea for us to talk about Scotch tape.
Okay. Um wait, what do I even say? Um Scotch tape is interesting. Okay. Have you ever gotten it stuck on the roll of tape? Like, how do I describe this? Like, you have a
Yes,
piece of tape out and it sticks back onto the roll of tape and you can't find the end and you're like trying to scrape off the end of the tape to get a piece of tape, but you can't do it. I just hate that.
that happens to me all the time, constantly, because you're like giving me anxiety.
I need to
Um,
like invent a better tape roll. Like,
they do.
like how there's like, I guess they've already kind of invented that, but
True.
like we need a better one.
They need a like an advanced tape
Like,
roll.
like a tape gun that just shoots out a length of tape. I guess, wait, no, that's already a thing. Like there's like a tape roller where like you stick on a piece of tape and you just pull it back and then clip it off, I guess.
It's true, I guess. Yeah.
So never mind.
Anyways,
Anyways,
there's Scotch tape for you.
Scotch tape.
Go ahead.
Um, why don't we I don't know. I can't think of pumpkin chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, yes. Possibly one of the best cookies in the entire world is the pumpkin chocolate chip cookie. It tastes so savory and delectable in your mouth that you can't stop at one bite, nor two, nor
One
three.
cookie.
You cannot even stop at 10 cookies. You have to go further.
The
You
whole
see,
the whole bag.
chocolate chip cookies are traditional, but pumpkin chocolate chip cookies are truly the master of all cookies.
They are divine, delectable, delightful, and delicious. There we
Oh, yes, yes.
go.
Perfect. Yeah, pumpkin chocolate chip cookies are truly amazing. And I don't care if it's not October because pumpkin is good for any time of the year. It really is.
It hits different when you have pumpkin chocolate chip cookies for Thanksgiving.
Well, that's true, but like I wouldn't say no
And
to a pumpkin chocolate
yeah,
chip cookie if it were like the spring or the summer.
yes, yes. Also,
So,
some people don't like them, but I guess everyone has their preferences. So
you know what I say to that?
bad. No.
Bad.
Eat more cookies.
Eat more.
You should try making homemade pumpkin chocolate chip cookies. I don't have that recipe memorized, but if I did, it'd probably. I think it has like pumpkin puree in it
Yeah, it does. We
and
the
other
the only
stuff.
good way to make a pumpkin chocolate chip cookie is to make it homemade, and that's what we always end up doing.
Although, if you buy a box at the store, that's all right too. If you don't have the right
True.
ingredients, because yeah, one time we made them in foods, and we used pumpkin puree from actual homegrown pumpkins that our teacher had. So it was legit because like there weren't it wasn't like canned pumpkin puree. It was like straight up made right there.
That is awesome.
So yeah.
Hmm.
Um pumpkin chocolate chip cookies. There you go.
Eating them.
Should we have one more?
Let's do it. Okay. What say you we talk about the invention of the pencil?
Oh boy, I don't know anything about the invention of the pencil. Let's find out. Invention
Me
of
neither.
the pencil.
So I think one thing to point out is that pencils have come a long way. I think the first pencils were just charcoal, honestly.
All right. The modern pencil was invented in 1795 by Nicolas Jacques Conte or Conte. It's Conte. I think he's French. I don't know. Oh yeah, a scientist serving in the army of Napoleon Bonaparte. The magic material that was so appropriate for the purpose was the form of pure carbon that we call graphite. So the oldest pencil is well there yeah, people use like charcoal and stuff. Now I think pencils are a necessity for school, work, at home, taking notes, drawing stuff, anything. People use a pencil.
If I'm not mistaken, pencils used to have lead in them too,
Yes.
which was a big problem.
And then kids would chew on them
Just
and
just like lead cups.
lead bowls, lead spoons. The thing with the lead
Were
cups, I know I'm gonna go off on a tangent here, but I have to. Okay. So in when lead cups were used in say like I don't know what time period, but I think it was like 1700s or something like that. People would drink from the lead cups and then they would pass out and it would seem as if they were dead, but they
oh
weren't,
yeah,
right? So they would get buried alive and they found like
they found a lot of
they
problems.
found when some well eventually I think they either heard sounds or something, I can't remember exactly, but they dug up a coffin again and there were scratches on the top of it, which is terrifying, but
Yeah,
it gets even crazier. So then they decided
they
they
strapped bell
yeah,
like
they
ropes to
mhm,
people's legs and
yeah,
put the bells.
they put a bell onto them. So they had a bell that would ring and so then they could dig someone out and save them. But basically like the bell would ring if they were moving in the coffin, right? And so then they would dig out these people and that's where the saying saved by the bell comes from because they would literally get saved by the bell. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's what were we talking about again? Oh yeah, the invention of the pencil. So yeah, I guess scientist dude sounds interesting. I don't know much about him.
yeah. He sounds like a cool guy though, I must say. So,
All right,
I,
I think that's everything we've got for you today. Hope you guys enjoyed, and uh, hopefully we can do this more often. We've been kind of busy and all the stuff that's been going on. Crazy summer, but
been
yeah.
busy. Yeah.
So yeah, as always, stay random.
Stay random.